Yeah, that first time was a special moment, right? That was my first time playing back in my first school that I committed to as a recruit, and then went there as my first year as a freshman. A lot of memories made there, a lot of fans, a lot of relationships I still have there, and so it's just a very special moment. Going down, being able to go down there for my second time, it's a whole different spirits, different team, right? This is my senior season now, so it's always obviously the experience will be different, but at the same time, it's just a 60-minute game, right? So I got a job to do, and that's what I'm gonna do.
Is it more? Is this like the second time around where maybe the nerves of coming back the first time are maybe not there? It's more just the football thing, I guess.
No, I don't think it changes at all, right? I think every single game I view the same way. I have a job to do, and I got to do what I got to do each and every play to get the job done. It may look differently each game, right? You may see things differently, but at the end of the day, it's all it is, just getting the job done.
How did getting on the field early in Nebraska lay the foundation for obviously two very successful years for you guys that you had with the national championship and last year beating Ohio State?
Yeah, it laid a huge foundation. The main thing I really think it helped me with was just knowing that I have a process in which that I was able to use that was able to be successful that really translated to my on-field success and allowed me to be on the field earlier. So knowing that I was able to have a preparation, right, routine that was good, and so being able to use that and then build off that my future career, I think it laid a great foundation for that.
Your former coach Scott Frost made comments in the past with just that you think Nebraska was the right job. Why, just because he was playing for him, why do you think it just didn't work out during this time?
I mean, I really like Coach Frost. Obviously, I committed. He was one of the reasons I committed to Nebraska. He's a great man, and it's unfortunate, right? The results we had, and for myself as a player, right? It hurts me because for myself, whenever losing a coach like that, after the third game of the season, you carry a bit of responsibility of that, right? You get to know that coach as a person, you spend a lot of time with him, and so you feel like you have a responsibility that you let him down, right? Because you weren't able to get the job done in order for him to stay. So, it hurts my heart because for myself, I feel like I was part of the reason, he had to leave, and I always wished him the best of success moving forward. Yeah, I'll first start with Jimmy. He's someone that he's looked at as a starter last year. He's a great, highly skilled set. He's very smart. He's very versatile. He knows both positions. We can trust him to go in there, know any position, and play at the very high level. And he's done a really great job at staying locked in no matter what. And that's really what I respect about Jimmy. He never complains. He's never, I want more playing time. I want this. He's just, let me know when I'm in, let me know my time, and I'm gonna execute my job. And I really appreciate that about Jimmy. Cole, you know, he is someone that has a very high ceiling. I saw it from day one when he, first put the pads on, and this has been really cool to see him grow. And for myself, if I can do anything to help him, because he's very high ceiling, and he's gonna do very great things for his career here at Michigan and the future. Same thing as Jimmy. And so if anything I can do to really help him expedite that process, for myself, using my experience of playing as a freshman, and helping him so that his second year now, he can have that big growth, because I know he can do that, and he's putting so much work in, and I'm very excited to see him because his skill set with his size and his length is very very dangerous for offense. So just making sure that he just really knows how to maximize that. I'm very excited for him.
Ernest, what do you think it was that you guys did well that allowed you guys to beat Ohio State even though it went under the
It's just that we never changed who Michigan was. We always pride ourselves on being the most toughest team out there on every single field. And when you get to November, that's what it's about. It's about who's the toughest team, because it's just about, it's a product when you get to November about your offseason training really, because every single team is banged up, every team is hurting. Everyone's going through something, right, that late in the season. And so really, who really took that offseason training to have your body right in a good enough condition where you can execute and be and stay and still playing with the principles and the foundation of what we're built on, and that's toughness. And we hang our hats on that, but we have to do that each and every day to make sure we still strive for that. Absolutely, I think it's played a major role, and it's going to continue always that, because that's what Michigan is. Every time you put on that wing helmet, you understand what that represents. You understand who's played before you, and you understand that it means more than just yourself putting the helmet on.
What do you think your team, especially maybe the younger guys, learned in that three-game win streak to end the season that can be applied to this year?
I hope the young guys understand that Because it's huge that when we, those last couple games, right? Even if we talk about Ohio State first game, understanding that the season, it's a long season. It's a very long season. And to see the growth that we took, I'm just talking from the defensive standpoint, the people in my room, and just seeing how as players, you have a responsibility to find a way to adjust, right? If something's not working, right? We're not having the success that we want. You have to find a way to adjust. The world's gonna keep going on. You still have a game that Saturday, and you yourself have to figure out what you got to do differently, and to be able to change that. And I think we did that well as a defense, and really paid dividends to our successes towards the end of the season. Yeah, I think it's a work ethic. These people that we brought in, with some transfers, but the people we have that are here without transfers, that's been here in Michigan, it's a blessing, right? Because when you have someone like that to look up to and be able to emulate, truly to study, and them mentoring, also being leaders as well. It really helps them pays dividends to their successes, and and that's what I love about those guys too. They soak that up. They want to ask questions. They always want to learn more, and they're ready for this moment. And I know it too because I've seen the work that they put in each and every day. I know when the moment comes that they'll be ready for that, and it showed that. And you can see that towards the end of the season with that last game against Bama, when those guys stepped up in those moments big time. You got a glimpse. Like everybody got a glimpse of what they do. But I can't wait for everybody to see who they truly are in a full season. Trey Williams, beyond his athletic, he's very, very athletically gifted, very, very skilled. His personality, I think, is very, very unique. I love about it because when you have someone like that, I love that about football, right? You have always different people coming from different places, different backgrounds, different environments, and when you have them come all together, 11 people on the field, all have to work together for one common goal. And, I think his energy, his passion, his drive, and his charisma is unique. And I like that about it, and it brings a little spice to the defense, and I like that. You want to have those different type of energies, different type of group of people, because at the end of the day, it's going to take a village to win a game. Each season is different. Each team is different, and that's how it has to be treated every single time. And I hope that my teammates and as a leader, it's my job to really get that to people, understand that just because you had last year's success does not mean anything. It does not guarantee you anything. So even like I said, towards the end of the season, we had our momentum towards the end of the year. That means nothing to this season. It means nothing. We as a team have to go out each and every day, do our workouts, do practices, do meetings, and have to treat that with a sense of urgency, understanding that there's no guarantee. We're not guaranteed to win no games. We have to play the game just like them do, like the other team does, put a helmet on and kick the ball for 60 minutes. Jimmy. We treat him like another starter. That's the same. He had that role last year, and he just embraced that role. We really appreciate that. We trust him so greatly to do anything. He's so versatile. He knows both positions inside and out, and he executes those positions at a high level every single play.
Your off-season conditioning looks like it's been pretty unique. Boxing, I mean, a lot of different things. Like, how do you fix who you work out with, and how have those different aspects helped you?
Yeah, one of my goals going into the season, is to be the best, to be the best condition and shape I can be, right? And as a linebacker and also as a leader of the team, right? I never want to be my condition to be a reason of a factor for why I'm not able to make a play for my team out there, right? That's ultimately what it is. I want to be able to be what my team needs me to do to give us the best opportunity to win, and that means making plays and making sure I'm in the best condition and shape possible, and with that, what makes me decide that, I've been blessed to have really great mentors and have great people in my circle to really help me guide me through what makes me best. But a lot of that comes from myself. I spend a lot of time internalizing and understanding how my body feels and what my body needs. And being in tune with that helps me identify what my needs are and kind of where my training goes for that day.
Boxing for conditioning, is that sort of make it most all around?
Absolutely, yeah. That's something I've always admired. I box, it's my third off season doing a little bit of boxing, but it's just like each time it's always a different focus. Each time I tell a trainer, this is what I want to focus on, and we do that. And he sets it up perfectly for that. And I'm just like I said, I'm so fortunate and blessed to have people in my circle to get me in the best condition possible.
How are your numbers compared
Absolutely. Yeah, this is the best I've ever felt. I'm going into a season, and I'm very ready, looking forward to this year. Yeah, it's one of those things where you have to look on relationships, right? Relationship building takes time, and it's one of those things you can never expect a new person to take on 140 guys and have everything go smoothly without no relationships, right? And so that's why I'm really looking forward to this season, and I think the world should be looking forward to it as well, Michigan fans as well, is because you have that year. You have that year of relationship building from the staff to the players, and that's the thing about Coach Moore that I really like and appreciate. He loves the players. He truly does because he cares more than just about us football players. He cares about us as people, and he spends that extra time with us. Whether it's sitting in the comments, whether it's calling you on your phone when you're out, when you're at home, he just calls you, just have a conversation with you, understand that that's what it takes, because he's very passionate. He has a high standard, has high expectations for us because that's the Michigan standard, and he understands that the only way for that to happen is because he has to be hard on us during practice, right? But we all know it comes from a place of love, because he takes that time, extra time with us outside of football and cares about us as human beings. That allows him to coach the style that he coaches. Yes.
Having said that, how have you all been able to use his examples to be able to create better synergy as you guys going into the 2025 season, not just from Coach Moore, but in the rest of the coaching staff as well?
Yeah, because I'm able to use that, as a way as a leader myself to see how he's taking that time to really get to know his players. As a leader for myself, I need to take that time to understand my teammates as well, because everyone's so individualized. Everybody's needs are different. Everybody responds to different things differently, right? So as a leader, it's my job to understand that, to be able to understand how to get to him. Because in the game, in the heat of the moment, right, I have to know the split-second decision. How do I get to him? I don't have the 30 minutes. I got to think about how do I talk to him. I have to know that right away with no thought process at all.
How do you guys remain a team in this day and age with social media, with NIL, and so many other things that could be a distraction, so to speak? How do you guys become just we instead of just me?
Yeah, I think Michigan, we say it all the time, Michigan's not for everybody. When you put your fingerprint in that door, you wipe your ego straight clean. Because if you walk in there with the ego, it'll get knocked out so fast. Because it's not about we won't say nothing to you. It's just about how we go about our business each and every single day. That there's a certain standard. And if you're not up to that standard, you're going to be told, you're going to be held accountable to that standard. And at the end of the day, you're just not going to make it, because it's going to show who you truly are at the University of Michigan.
Ernest, I'm sorry, go ahead. Yep.
No, I was going to say one. Little fun question, just who controls the ox in the locker room? What do you got with some of the players?
Ox varies. There's no one person that has control of it. That's the beauty about Michigan. I love about the locker room. There's nobody controlling who has what. It's a free, it's our own area. But anybody can have the Ox, and everybody loves everybody. So.
Ernest, forgive me if you already
Okay.
answered this question, but your first impressions of Bryce
Mm-hmm.
through the spring and now the summer.
Yeah, Bryce is as good as advertised. But the thing that I'm really impressed about Bryce is the way he's matured beyond his years. You would never know that he's 17 years old coming into a college program, 5-star recruit, heavily recruited, has high expectations. You would never know that by looking at him, by talking to him at all. The quarterback position, it's completely open. We don't know who's going to be playing. We don't know who's going to be week 1, week 2, week 3. It could all change, right? But I'm just very impressed at how he's really carried himself as a person, because he fit right in well with his quarterback room. Because the whole quarterback room, they love to work. They do so much work behind closed doors that people don't even see. I don't even see. But I just know he's a perfect fit for that. He's going to continue to push that room, make that room better. I'm very excited to see what that room does this year.
I've heard about the hours he's put in the facility, things like that. Is there anything else that sticks out that impresses you, especially considering, like you said, 17?
Yeah, like I said, it's just preparation, right? I remember one moment I'm seeing him before practice, right? Most of the time, people getting taped up, ready, but he's out there walking through his plays by himself. And so it just goes to show how bought in, how he cares about his preparation. But like I said before, that whole quarterback room is so bought into preparation. They all do things like that we don't see behind the scenes, and it's just so special. And as a defense, I can tell my whole defense, hey, we can trust that. We can trust that room. Whoever that quarterback is, week 1, week 2, week 3, I know we're in good hands because they put that work in, and they'll be good hands.
Your teammates were saying that it's not completely uncommon for a freshman to earn the trust of a locker room, but it doesn't happen that often. And that's what Bryce has already done. Before you can agree with that, why do you think that's the case?
like it's a it's your daily actions that gain the trust of others, right? And he's shown and he's proven to us that he's a high level person beyond just a football player, and that's what we love about people. If you know you're a high level person, we know what you're gonna be on the field. Because with someone, you want to know what you're gonna get out of the person on the field. You don't ever want to ask or expect. And with Bryce, you know what you can get out of him. He's a high level competitor. Like I said, he just fits that quarterback room perfectly well. And I'm excited to see who ends up being the quarterback.
When you're player of the roster last year, you're probably aware that it was like highly publicized or flipped his commitment. What's that like? And then are you kind of wondering like, is this kid going to live up to the hype? Is there like some maybe some side eye at him when he's coming in? And were you guys kind of aware of the hype around him coming in?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like we treat everybody as a person, and like he's a 17-year-old kid coming into college. I myself was that person as well coming into college, right? And so as people, as we've all been there, and so as leaders, it's our job to welcome these young people in as a family, right? It's a family, it's a brotherhood, and we have to grind and work hard together for the whole season, the whole year. So there's no hate, there is no side eyes. It's all love, and we want to help him reach his goals and reach his ceiling as fast as possible. Freshman linebackers. Yeah, I'm very excited about them. You have Nate OSU. He's a very very skilled player. You have Chase Taylor, very very skilled player too. And then you also have a transfer Troy Bowles. He's also a very skilled player. So our linebacker group has incredible depth right now, and I'm super excited to see what they can do for each other, whether it's on the field, special teams, because they're going to make an impact, and I know they're going to be the field, and they're going to be ready for it too. It means everything. You come to Michigan, the standard is to beat Ohio State every single season. And so winning that game means everything. Like that is your livelihood, and that's why you come to Michigan. You watch a game to see the better team wins, right? Like the end results, end result. I just watch the football game just to watch football. Um, for us, it doesn't change anything, right? We know we played that game. We played the game 60 minutes just like they did. Put the helmet on, and we won that game. So it doesn't mean anything to us. It doesn't diminish our win at all. But at the same time, we understand that that's last year. It's over with. As soon as that game's over, that next day, the clock starts again. That as soon as we walked in that facility after that game, the clock was on for the next games the next season. Absolutely, yeah. You can use that as momentum going forward. But like I said, every year is different. It's a new roster, and you have to have the same level of preparation, even more each season. Understanding that it's so much harder to do the same thing again twice, and like I said, now to do it for a fifth time is gonna be that much harder, right? So we have to take that account every single day and make sure that we keep ourselves that standard each day. I do not.
Talk to Max about where you guys are in the Big Ten, sort of it's near the top but not at the top. When you came in, right? I guess can you just describe your mentality being the hunters now, getting to be the hunter? Is that something that you like?
In our minds, it's Michigan versus everybody, no matter what. No matter what our ranking is, we don't look at the rankings. We don't care about that ranking at all, because at the same time, at the same day, we have to put the helmet on each game and have to play high level football, execute at a high level to win a football game. And we saw that. We went 8-5 last year. That's not the Michigan standard, and we had to change some things. We have to change some things because we can't do what we did last year. We went 8-5. That's not the standard, like I said. So it's Michigan versus everybody. So we have to go back to the basics. We have to go back to what we, as Michigan, what do we hang our hats on? And like I said, we found our momentum towards the end of the season, but it's a whole new roster. We got to find that. And how do we find that earlier in the season, right? From game one. Our only focus right now is New Mexico. That's the only focus is game one right now.
Now, on your side of the ball, every coach is new, right? And how much is that continuity going to feel?
It's huge. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's huge having that continuity because, like I said before, relationships are huge, right? And understanding how people want to see things called and how people see things right from different coaches and all this is the beauty of football. And I think that's one of the things I appreciate about Coach Wink, right? I love seeing his game plans each week because they vary. They vary each week. And seeing how from Monday, seeing the game plan, how they all fit together from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then finally Friday, right? Seeing them all piece together for a final game plan. And towards the end of the season, right? I'm the one that has that communicator, right? So towards the end of the season, right? You can kind of get in the mind of Coach Wink, kind of understand how he calls things to the point where I'm almost anticipating what he's calling. I already kind of know what he's going to call before he even calls it, and that's the beauty of it. And I love that about it. And I think that's going to pay dividends going into this year, just as everybody understands how he wants things played, how we see things, right? Because that's so huge about as a defense. Everybody got to be saying and speaking the same language, and that stuff takes time for everybody to do so, right? It just does. You just can't learn new language and expect to catch it on right away, right? It takes time. It takes hard work. It takes, unfortunately, we went through some rough times with it too. But I believe that's going to make us better for the long run as well. Biggest one? Yeah, I think the biggest person is going to be Cam Brant. I think what he's done to physically mature his body each year, just seeing from his freshman, sophomore, now going to his junior season, he's going to be. I think it's going to be very fun to watch, and Michigan should be very excited to watch him play. Thank you. It was great. More depth is better, right? We want to be highly competitive, to be able to be at the standard that we want to play at Michigan. You need depth because that's the only way you can compete, and that's the only way you can really get the best out of one another. And he's done that. He's very highly skilled linebacker coming in, and so we're very excited to have him. And just seeing him play in spring ball is so fun to watch him play. To see the plays he can make, his athleticism, and he's going to contribute to us in a very high way. And I'm very excited to see him play. I'm most proud of. For me, I'm most proud of when I get to put my fingerprint in the building each and every day, because it's a blessing that not everybody can have. Not every school is created equal. I truly believe that. Being at Michigan is such a blessing and such an honor, and to be able to walk in that facility each day, I'm so proud every single day to put on a Michigan gear anytime at the block I'm on. I'm so proud because I know what it represents. It represents more than just myself, more than just my football team, a community, a school, an organization, alumni before me. There's so much before me. It's so much it just means so much bigger than myself. Sorry, say that again, please. Most? Yeah, I think every single year for myself is my preparation. I think you can really just I take that to really personal for myself in my preparation. I take pride in how I prepare each day, whether it's for a practice, for a meeting, for a game, because that is what really is going to ultimately show in a game, right? You don't prepare for a game on game day. It's about what you do before that, and that's what I've really been able to learn from people before me, right? I've been blessed with leaders in front of me, highly NFL, first rounders, NFL teammates. So you can really see how they prepare and what they do each day to make sure that they can be at their best every single day. Absolutely. It's always, to see that, obviously, it can always light a fire inside. But like I said before, you come to Michigan and beat Ohio State, and we went 8-5 last year. We didn't earn to be in the Big Ten Conference, the Big Ten Championship, or the playoff. We didn't earn that at all. And so, as myself, I look back and have to individually reflect, and my teammates as well. And I think we've done a great job of really just making sure that we got to go back to what we know Michigan's built up on, and going back to those basics, building that foundation. And I believe we're in a really good spot right now going to fall camp. And I'm excited to see what we do as a team after fall camp. Absolutely, yeah. It's just like you have the whole year of comfortability. You understand how he sees things, how he wants things played, and so you have that. And now, so what we were building on from last year, now we're building from right here. So it's a whole different point of where we're starting at. And so I'm just really excited to see where our ceiling is as a defense, because I know it's super high. I've seen about Jimmy is the same guy I've seen since I've been there at the University of Michigan. He's someone that just works so hard, very hard, doesn't say much, right? He just goes about his business, and you know exactly who he's going to be on the field every single day. You don't have to worry about him at all. He's very versatile. He plays both positions. He knows both of them inside and out, and executes them at a high level. And so to have that, it's so valuable, right? We treat him like a third starter because he truly is a third starter. And he's done a great job of being a not only a reliable person, but also an example for other people to understand, see young guys, right? Someone that he's stuck through it, right? Because in this day and age, it would have been very easy for him to say, you know what, I'm very talented. If I can go somewhere else and be a starter, but the decision for him to stay and stick it out, um, it just pays dividends and it just shows who he truly is as a person. And people, I think he needs more credit than people give him because who he is as a person is so incredible. Nicole Sullivan, when he first came in as a freshman, the first thing I noticed was his size, his build, and he filled out really quickly. And to see his elite skill making, and just to see his growth from first practice to now, I'm so excited to see what he's going to do this season, going to his second camp. Because for myself, I take it upon myself as a leader of that room. How can I get him to be the quickest possible? Because I'm very thankful that he was able to play, to get snaps in on special teams last year, and then get some reps at linebacker because we're going to need him at some point this year. It's a long season, right? You don't know you don't know what's going to happen, right? We're going to count on him in a big way, and I know he's ready to take on that role because of how he prepares each and every day. And that's something I really appreciate about him. He's just something you would never know. He's sophomore going to sophomore year, just how he works. Yeah, yeah. Dejan, freak athlete, right? And you can see that just looking at him. You can see how he plays. And the thing I appreciate playing with Dejan is he trusts me. He truly does. He trusts me to allow to navigate that defense, and he trusts me to communicate to him. And as we've been able to play together more comfortable, we have grown. Our trust has grown, and our comfortability has grown. And I think it's going to be just awesome to see what we do in year two together. And I'm very excited about it. Yeah, like the ceiling is so high for him. He knows it. Everybody knows in the whole program, and we're just so excited to see what we can do because when you have someone like that gifted, that size, that ability, all we have to do is put him in position to make plays, and he's going to make that play. It's not pressure. The thing is about Michigan, there's a standard where we play. There's a foundational principle of how we play defense. And we don't care when or how. When the ball is lined up, we don't care. If the ball is lined up outside the cement, we're going to play defense and we're going to play how we play defense. So we don't care how it is, what it is. We have a job to do. So wherever we get the ball at the 30-yard line going in, we have to get a stand, right? And so we don't worry about where the ball's at. We worry about what we got to do this series, what we got to do this play to make sure we execute our jobs. I don't think there's a time where it's like, oh, this is really working because the thing about us and when you have those high level athletes or high level players, we all trust our abilities. We know what we can do, right? And so now when you see those things all working together, right, for the success of the defense, you have just a sense of confidence, right? You have a more confidence feeling, understanding that everything is working. What we are being put in the right position, right? And it wasn't like we were not being put in the right position. Like I said before, it just things just take time, right, to understand how things are, how we want things played, different things, right, different adjustments, and we're all speaking the same language. And that's the main thing. Once we started speaking the same language, it was so simple. Things that might have taken a few more minutes to explain previously are things you say one word and you understand exactly what it means, right? And so now where you now take the time to build, you can build off a point where it's, where you ended off from last year, right? And so yeah, I'm very excited to see what we do going up forward to this season.
From your inside backer spot, when you look across the line of scrimmage, like what do you see when you look at Bryce's eyes? Or what did you see during practice?
Yeah, look at Bryce. Yeah, he's as good as advertised as he is. Like he's so mature. Like you look at him and he commands that offense. You can look, and it's the eyes I look at every single quarterback we have there at University of Michigan because of the way they prepare, the way they take it upon themselves to be that leader of that offense, right? As a quarterback is, they take that upon themselves and how they command the huddle. There's not a quarterback that plays at Michigan right now. If I look across, I don't think that they command the offense. They all do that, and it's a byproduct of who they are as people, but more importantly, it's a byproduct of how they put the time in outside the football field and how they prepare.
Derek told a funny story about how some of the guys like to go play basketball. Bryce was there once, and he was like, "You should be doing this. Like, you're too valuable for this." Like, I guess how does that sort of register with you that in this era, a guy could be worth that much money at 17?
It's one of those things where I would not have known what college football would get to this point, right, when I first entered college football, right? But here we are. It's a new day. It's a new day and age, right? And it's our job as players to be adaptable to this day and age. But at the same time, we have a job to do. We have to do our job each and every day to make sure that we are at our best to win a football game.